Waheguru Ji di Fateh. We are celebrating 551st Gurpurab, birth anniversary of our first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. In the current difficult times, we have guidance from him. He came in difficult times as well, when Mughal rulers, caste system, and restricted thinking was making life very difficult for an ordinary person. He gave us a new way of thinking, new way of living, and finding God, one divine light within all of us. Let us listen to his life story and his messages through talks and Shabad Kirtan by children and adults. First is Rasleen Narula, who is a software developer, and she's going to tell us about Guruji's birth. This is followed by a Shabad by Sukhmani Kaur, Vinder Kaur, and Ritika Kaur, and with Sahib Singh and Inderjeet Singh accompanying on the Tabla. Rasleen Kaur.
Janam Sakhi, the story of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the founder and first Guru of Sikhism. 30th November 2020 marks as his 551st birth anniversary. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born in year 1469 in village Talwandi, now known as Nankana Sahib, which is situated near the city of Lahore in present-day Pakistan. Sikhs around the world celebrate a spacious occasion of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birth on the Purnamashi, full moon day, in the lunar month of Kattak, October or November, which falls on a different date every year. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's father, Kalyan Das Mehta, also known as Mehta Kaluji, was a local patwari accountant for crop revenue in the village of Talwandi. And his mother was Mata Triptaji, who was described as a simple and a very religious woman. They belonged to the Vedic Kshatriya caste. Guruji had an elder sister named Bebe Nanki Ji, who cherished her younger brother and was the first to recognize Guru Nanak Ji as an enlightened soul. From an early age, it was evident that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was very different from the other young children. He was an extraordinary child distinguished by his divine grace. Blessed with a deeply contemplative mind and rational thinking, young Nanak Ji would often astound his elders and teachers with the sublimity of his knowledge, particularly on divine matters. Growing up, he refused to partake in traditional religious rituals and often spoke out against several prevalent societal practices such as caste system, idolatry, and the worship of demigods. As a young boy, it is believed that Guru Nanak's melodies cast a spell and no one could escape from it. So much so that one day when the head of the village, Rai Buller, heard Guru Nanak singing, that he said, "Nanak is not an ordinary child. He has come into this world to steer people onto the right path." The incident goes that when Rai Buller and his friends passed Guru Nanak Ji, they were all surprised to hear the words from a child of such young age, and that too with such dignity and wisdom. At a tender age of mere 7 years old, Guru Nanak Ji was sent to school. Here again he impressed the schoolmaster with the scholastic proficiency. The schoolmaster was left speechless with his knowledge, and then the schoolmaster went on to tell him to do what he pleased, post which Guru Nanak Dev Ji left school and went on to do private study and meditation. By the age of 16, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had mastered multiple religious texts and languages, including Sanskrit, Persian, and Hindi, and was writing what many believed were divinely inspired compositions. In order to make Guru Nanak Dev Ji round to worldly affairs, Guru Nanak's father, Mehta Kaluji, decided that he should arrange his son's marriage. In the year 1487, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was married to Mata Sulakhani Ji, and they had two sons, Sri Chand and Lakshmi Das. The family, accompanied by Bhai Mardana, a Muslim childhood friend of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, then moved to the town of Sultanpur Lodi, where Guru Nanak Ji took the job of an accountant in charge of the stores of the local governor. Here, Guru Nanak Ji worked during the days, but during the early mornings and late nights, he meditated and sang hymns accompanied by Bhai Mardana on the rabab, a stringing instrument. During one of those early mornings, while bathing in Vain Nadi, a small river, Guru Nanak Ji heard God's call to dedicate himself completely to the service of humanity. The very first sentence which he uttered then was, there is no Hindu, no Musliman, stating that he had been taken to the God's court and given a divine mission. Guru Nanak Ji then began the next stage of his life to preach his unique doctrine, Sakhi, to the entire world. For the next 30 years, accompanied by Bhai Mardana, Guru Nanak Dev Ji undertook 4 major spiritual journeys, also known as Udasis, running across India, South Asia, Tibet, and Arabia, covering about 30,000 kilometers. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Shri Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satgur Nanak Pargatiya, Miti Tund Jag Janan Hoa. Satgur Nanak Pargatiya, Miti Tund Jag Janan Hoa. Satgur Nanak Pargatiya, Miti Tund Jag Janan Hoa. Kar kar andar परगट होआ गुरमुख कल विच परगट होआ कल विच परगट होआ सतगुर नानक परगटया निति तुंद जग जानन होआ सतगुर नानक परगटया मिति तुंद जग जानन होआ सतगुर नानक परगटया मिति तुंद जग जानन होआ वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह
Rasleen, Sukhmani, Meher, Ritika, Sahib Singh and Inderjeet Singh for telling us about Guruji's birth, his school life and all the celebrations at his birth. And let us listen to Sahib Singh, young boy, telling us about Guruji's school time and his messages at that time. Followed by Shabad by Vinder Kaur ji, Sab to vadda Satgur Nanak jin kal rakhi meri. Hey, Sahib Singh and Vinder Kaur ji.
School. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji was a little boy, his parents decided it was time for him to go to school. The teacher knew that when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born, an astrologer had predicted that he would be a great man. At school, he remembered the whole alphabet on the first day. The teacher saw this and believed the child was very special, so he continued to teach everything to this special boy. Guru Nanak Dev Ji quickly learned whatever the teacher had said. He only wanted to chant God's name. Sometimes the teacher would leave the students and they were supposed to write down the alphabet to try and remember it. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji would tell all his friends about God and about chanting the Naam. When the teacher would come back, all the kids would be meditating instead of doing their homework. The teacher said, Nanak, have you written the alphabet? And Nanak showed the teacher what he had written. Even the teacher was surprised what the child had written. Not only did he write all the letters, he wrote down a description of God using each letter. He wrote the deepest wisdom with the deepest meanings. At such a young age, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had written things that even great scholars and saints hadn't written. Not only did he understand everything the teacher had to say, he also knew God. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji continued school, he learned all about numbers and how to use them for business. He learned to read all the holy books. One day the teacher found that Guru Nanak Dev Ji wasn't reading anything and asked, "Why aren't you reading anything?" Guru Nanak Dev Ji replied, "Do I have anything left to read?" The teacher said, "It's true, you know everything. You have read all the holy books. You fully know how to add and use numbers for business. You are very smart and have learned all these things." Even though the child Nanak was smarter than his teacher, he didn't really care for the things being taught in school. He said, "My business is God, my reading is God." Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the sacred thread. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji was older, but before he was a teenager, his parents decided it was time for him to do the ceremony that Hindu boys do to become men. When a boy becomes of age, a huge ceremony is made in honor of him. This was their family tradition. They had a family priest to give them a thread that was imbued with powerful ancient mantras. The thread was called a janu. He was supposed to wear the thread over his shoulder for his whole life, and it would help him meditate, and it would mean that he is a high caste person, not a low caste. People used to believe that everyone was born high or low. If a person is low caste, they can never do great things and they can never really know God. All they can do is low tasks. His father called the whole family and their friends and guests. Everyone came to participate in this special ceremony. It was a very important occasion. Guru Nanak Dev Ji always wondered why people do different ceremonies and rituals when God is inside everyone. When all the guests had gathered, the priest explained, "Now you will be a true high caste Brahmin. This thread is the foundation of our religion. If you wear it, you shall not be a low caste person. You can become great and happiness will come to you in this world and the afterworld as well." It will always remind you of God. The child Nanak was both rebellious and wise, so he refused to put the thread on. He told the priest, I can remember God without a thread. When someone dies, they leave the body and the sacred thread behind. Only the soul goes on. If you could give me something that goes with my soul, I will wear that. The priest said, this is an ancient ritual passed down in the most sacred writings. Dear child, you are very young. Do you think you are wiser than we priests? If you wear this thread, you can be a man of God, beloved by... The beloved child started saying things which the adults could not understand. He said, people do so many bad things, and then they think if they put on a thread, they are men of God. This thread will break, and a new one will have to be put on. This kind of thread will get old and fall apart. Now the priest got angry. Mehta Kalu, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's father, got angry too. He was very embarrassed. Because all the guests were there, his father thought, what was he doing? If he doesn't wear that thread, how will he become successful? How will he make a living? He'll just be a low-caste person. The angry priest, not expecting a good answer, asked, well then, child, what kind of thread would go with your soul? Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, meditating on the Naam is how to wear a true thread. Meditating on the Naam brings honor and grace. The Naam will go with the soul and will never break. The Naam can go with us into God's house. A lot of people didn't know what to think about what he said. A lot of people wore threads their whole lives, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji only believed in true and not doing something because everybody else did it. He loved the truth and spoke the truth. And sure enough, Guru Nanak Dev Ji remembered God his whole life. Without a thread, he lived the truth. The highest thing is living the truth. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक जिन कल राखी मेरी सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक जिन कल राखी मेरी जिन कल राखी ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक जिन कल राखी मेरी जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे बोल न जाने माया मत माता मर न जीत न आवे जिन कर राखी मेरी 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 सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक जिन कल राखी मेरी सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक सब ते वड्डा सतगुर नानक जिन कल राखी मेरी ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਾਮ ਰਾਏ ਤੂੰ ਸਦਾ ਕਾ ਸੰਤ ਤੇਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਾਮ ਰਾਏ ਤੂੰ ਸਦਾ ਕਾ ਸੰਤ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇਰੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਕੋ ਮੋ ਕਿਛ ਨਾਈ ਜਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਵੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ 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 ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਜੋ ਤੇਰੇ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੇ ਸਵਾਮੀ ਚੰਪਾ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਦੁਖ ਨਾਸਾ ਜੋ ਤੇਰੇ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੇ ਸਵਾਮੀ ਚੰਪਾ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਦੁਖ ਨਾਸਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਬਖਸ਼ ਨਾ ਮਿਟੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਕਾ ਦਿਲਾਸਾ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ 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 ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਨਾਤੀ ਆਇਨ ਸੁਖ ਫਲ ਪਾਇਨ ਆਪੈ ਆਰਾਧੇ ਨਾਤੀ ਆਇਨ ਸੁਖ ਫਲ ਪਾਇਨ ਆਪੈ ਆਰਾਧੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਰਨ ਤੇਰੇ ਪਰਵਾਸੇ ਪੰਜ ਦੂਜ ਲੈ ਸਾਧੇ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ 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 ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਸ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
Thank you so much, Sahib Singh, for explaining and telling us about Guruji's school time and how he enlightened his own teacher. And Vinder Kaur ji singing the Shabad, Sab to vadda Satgur Nanak jin kal rakhi mere. And now let's listen to Dr. Satnam Singh Palia, who is going to tell us about Guruji's travels far and wide.
खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਜਨਮ ਦਿਨ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਓਵਰ ਮਾਈ ਲਾਈਫ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ more than 60 consecutive birthday I would have celebrated myself. And what have I learned by celebrating those birthdays? One thing, which was the purpose of life or the goal of life. The goal of life or the purpose of life is to develop your character. This is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was trying to say to us, that you need to develop your character. Today, I want to talk about two components. One, his traveling, and the second, his teaching in a very much a summary form. All of you interested can look at the Google on internet or various library books and you can find those things. Remember, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born in 1469 and he got married when he was roughly around 18 to Mata Sukhmani, and that will fall exactly in year 1487. 7-8 years later, they had their first child, Sri Chand, born in September 1494, and 3 years later, on 12th of February 1497, they had their second child, Lakshmi Das. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, by 1497, has already had their vision and have made up their mind that he need to teach other people either through traveling or through meeting up. And his travels, generally in Punjabi we call udasis. He was the second most traveled person in the world, around 28,000 kilometers from the year 1500 to 1524. Bear in mind, the decision to travel was taken in 1499, but he started the first travel in 1500. Another person who is known in history to have traveled long by distance, if not by time only, was Ibn Battuta of Morocco, who was only 21 years of age, a scholar and a religious judge, set off from his town of Tangier in Morocco to perform the pilgrimage to Mecca, which was supposed to take 1 year only, but he took roughly 30 years to achieve that. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, why I'm giving you some history, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, having gone into this matrimonial and family life, have decided to go for the travel, leaving his wife and the children. And the first travel, why he needed to do the traveling, it was more to what Guru Nanak saw. The word is suffering out of hatred, fanaticism, falsehood, and hypocrisy. The word has sunk in wickedness and sin. So he decided to travel and educate and press home the message of Almighty God. He set out on his mission in 1499, first locally and then to all different directions, carrying the torch of truth, heavenly love, peace, joy for mankind. So first travel or udasi is from 1500 for a period of 6 years toward the east. And that would mean going toward from Sultanpur to Delhi, then to Banaras, Assam, Saidpur, Sialkot, वापस आन लग गया. Second journey was done toward the south of India from 1506 to 1513, again 7-year period. And this was visiting various places like the Nasri Valley, Sanglapur, and right up to Sri Lanka or Ceylon those days. The third Udasi was 1514 to leke 1518 4 saal di toward the north of India, and that went toward Kashmir, Sumer Parbat, Nepal, Tashkent, Sikkim, and Tibet. The fourth journey from 1519 to 1521 was toward the west, Mecca, and the various Arab countries. And the fifth Udasi, from 1523 for a year, was within the Punjab. In summary, he has visited from 1500 to 1524 various centers of Hindus, Muslim, Buddhist, Jainis, Sufis, Yogis, and Siddhas. So basically all existing religion. He met people of different religion, tribes, culture, and races. In the 5 journeys, he would have covered most of India, present-day Bangladesh, present-day Pakistan, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, southwest China, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Syria, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. So basically, it was a big part of the world he has covered and has met various people. And what he has given, the message, is the teaching, which will take me to the second part. And I think over the years, what I have heard about Guru Nanak Dev Ji, I would be more inclined to divide the teaching of Guru Nanak in 3 sections. The core teaching was to believe in fatherhood of God. So word is belief, that you must believe in fatherhood of God. And the second part to it was to practice brotherhood of humankind or mankind. So summary of his teaching is to believe in fatherhood of God and practice in brotherhood of humanity. Summarizing his teaching, the religious teaching was, which majority of us know, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said there is only one God for the whole universe, not for the whole world, but for the whole universe. There is only one God, Ek Oankar. Second, God himself is the creator, he is the sustainer, and he is the destroyer. Third, that there will be unconditional submission to God's will, what he said in Japji Sahib, Hukam Rajai Chalna Nanak Likhya Nal, it is the submission of God's will and you got to accept it. Fourth, he said the Simran or meditation is an ideal way of worship. While we are doing the Simran, there should be no ritual, no priesthood. All his followers are priests in themselves. So these were the kind of religious teaching. Then he gave number of social teachings, and in the social teaching is number 1, the well-being of all humankind. Number 2, speaking the truth. Number 3, the seva, working or helping other without any thought or reward or personal benefit. And number 4, life got to be devoid of sins such as lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, what we call kam, krodh, lobh, moh, and hankar. The third was the socio-political teaching, and within that he said there should be no discrimination, neither the gender, nor the race, nor the religious basis. and no belief in superstition, not to believe in good or bad omens, not to believe in good or bad numbers, days, month, or the moments. And the last one, in the social political one, was the importance of guru, that you do need a guru. And right up to Guru Granth Sahib, we had gurus in physical form, but from then onward, Guru Manu Granth, our guru, is only Guru Granth Sahib and not anybody else. Cut story short, his teachings were that if you are a human, if you are a Sikh, be a good Sikh. If you are a Muslim, be a good Muslim. If you are a Hindu, be a good Hindu. If you are a human, try to be a good human and develop your character. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Bhai Sarabjeet Singh Ji, our Hazuri Raagi from Sikh Gurdwara, will sing Shabad Siddh Gosht. In these questions are being asked by Siddhs who had renounced the world and they are living in the mountains, and answers by Guru Nanak Dev Ji how to attain nirvana. This Shabad is in Ramkali Raag, and the prominent Siddhs and Naths are the Chhatrapat.
Sri Waheguru Sahib Ji, Satnam Sri Waheguru Sahib Ji, Tan Nanak Teri ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਬਾਬੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸਿੱਧ ਗੋਸ਼ਟ, ਬਾਬੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸਿੱਧ ਗੋਸ਼ਟ, ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਾਤ ਸਿਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ। ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸ਼ਾਤ ਸਿਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ, ਜਿਣ ਮੇਲਾ ਸ਼ਿਵਰਾਤ ਦਾ, ਜਿਣ ਮੇਲਾ ਸ਼ਿਵਰਾਤ ਦਾ, ਖਟ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਆਦੇਸ਼ ਕਰਾਈ, ਖਟ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਆਦੇਸ਼ ਕਰਾਈ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਸਿਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਬਾਬੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸਿਧ ਗੋਸ਼ਟ ਬਾਬੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸਿਧ ਗੁਸ਼ਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਸਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ। ਜਿਣ ਮੇਲਾ ਸ਼ਿਵਰਾਤ ਦਾ ਜਿਣ ਮੇਲਾ ਸ਼ਿਵਰਾਤ ਦਾ ਖਟ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਆਦੇਸ ਕਰਾਈ। ਖਟ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਆਦੇਸ ਕਰਾਈ। ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਸਿਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਵੱਡਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਪ੍ਰਗਟਿਆ ਵੱਡਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਪ੍ਰਗਟਿਆ ਕਲ ਯੁਗ ਅੰਦਰ ਜੋਤ ਜਗਾਏ। ਕਲ ਯੁਗ ਅੰਦਰ ਜੋਤ ਜਗਾਏ। ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਸਿਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਸਿਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ। ਮਿਲਿਓ ਬਾਬਾ ਉੱਠਿਆ ਮਿਲਿਓ ਬਾਬਾ ਉੱਠਿਆ ਮੁਲਤਾਨੇ ਦੀ ਜਾਰਤ ਜਾਏ। ਮੁਲਤਾਨੇ ਦੀ ਜਾਰਤ ਜਾਏ। ਧਨ ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਮਿਲਿਓ ਬਾਬਾ ਉਠਿਆ, ਮਿਲਿਓ ਬਾਬਾ ਉਠਿਆ, ਮੁਲਤਾਨੇ ਦੀ ਜਾਰਤ ਜਾਏ। ਮੁਲਤਾਨੇ ਦੀ ਜਾਰਤ ਜਾਏ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਅੱਗੋਂ ਪੀਰ ਮੁਲਤਾਨ ਦੇ, ਅੱਗੋਂ ਪੀਰ ਮੁਲਤਾਨ ਦੇ, ਦੁੱਧ ਕਟੋਰਾ ਪਰ ਲੈ ਆਏ। ਦੁੱਧ ਕਟੋਰਾ ਪਰ ਲੈ ਆਏ। ਬਾਬੇ ਕੱਢ ਕਰ ਬਗਲ ਤੇ, ਬਾਬੇ ਕੱਢ ਕਰ ਬਗਲ ਤੇ, ਚੰਬੇਲੀ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਲਾਏ। ਚੰਬੇਲੀ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲਾਏ। ਜੋ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਗ ਸਮਾਈ, ਜੋ ਗਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਗ ਸਮਾਈ, ਜੋ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਗ ਸਮਾਏ। ਜੋ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਗ ਸਮਾਏ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ, ਧਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਏ। ਬਾਬੇ ਕੱਢ ਕਰ ਬਗਲ ਤੇ, ਬਾਬੇ ਕੱਢ ਕਰ ਬਗਲ ਤੇ ਚੰਬੇਲੀ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲਾਏ ਚੰਬੇਲੀ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲਾਏ ਜੋ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਗ ਸਮਾਈ 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 ਤਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਤਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਸਿੱਧ ਬੋਲਨ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਬਚਨ ਤਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਤਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
His teachings are as important in today's time as they were 550 years ago. Let us listen to Anahat and Nehchal, medical students, about Guruji's message for these difficult times. Here is Anahat and Nehchal.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Our talk today will be about applying Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings in current times, especially with COVID-19.
After Guru Nanak Dev Ji's travels, the Guru finally arrived in Kartarpur in 1521. The then governor, Duni Chand, donated 100 acres of land on the bank of the river Raagi, which were named Kartarpur by the Guru, and he started living there with his family. It was here that Guru Nanak Dev Ji laid down the foundations of Sakhi, and this is where one of his well-known teachings comes from. Naam japo, kirit karo, vand chako, worship, work and share. To put a modern-day twist onto this period of Guru Nanak's time in Kartarpur, it could be said that he used this period to practice meditation and wellness. These are both things that apply to us now more than ever with the current pandemic. We will be speaking through some life lessons from Guru Nanak Dev Ji. These have been taken from an amazing organization called Nanak Naam. Make sure to watch their videos on YouTube.
With COVID, national restrictions and potential lockdowns, it can feel like life has been put on hold. Understandably, it's a difficult time, and it may feel like we are unable to live in the moment and be happy. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Nanak sa veladi parwan jit milandaro ma piri, that each moment is precious.
Nanak kehet milan ki bariya. Life is an opportunity. The life given to us by Guru Nanak is not just an opportunity to discover the world, but also to discover what it means to be alive. We are so much more than just our bodies and our minds, and when we start to look within ourselves, you realize that you are a part of something so much bigger.
During the pandemic, many of us have wished that it had gone differently and that it hadn't happened in the first place. Many of us are unhappy because we're longing for better days gone by. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Pranmat Nanak hukam pachana sukh hove din rati, that it's only when we truly learn to accept and let go of the past that we can find peace in the present moment and make our futures brighter.
Jaisyo rata, taiso huve. Choose your companions wisely. Your life has a direct impact from the people around you, whether it's the people nearest to you, the things you watch and read, and more importantly these days, social media. All of these things impact who you become. So surround yourself with people who inspire you.
When we judge or criticize others, we fool ourselves into believing that we're just fine and we have no problems. But our minds are filled with greed, anger, and selfishness. So rather than looking down on other people, Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us to put that strength into recognizing and conquering our own faults. Hopefully this teaching can help us deal with others with patience and kindness, as many people right now are dealing with many stresses. Par ninda, par malmukh, sudi agan karodh chandal.
Ek Onkar. We are all one. Each and every one of us are connected by this oneness. Some people call this God. If we remember the things that we all have in common, instead of focusing on the differences, we can start to look out for each other and treat life and one another as sacred. We would strive for equality and fairness for all. Global peace can only occur once we find our inner peace.
Thank you for listening, and we hope that this talk has helped you through these difficult times. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Shabad by Mrs. Bonani Roy and Balbir Kaur Ji, Awal Allah Noor Paya Kudrat Ke Saband.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
God created light, of which all the beings were born, and from this light the universe showed who is good and who is bad. The creation is in the Creator, and the Creator is in the creation. The clay is the same, but the designer has fashioned it in various ways. Nothing is wrong with the pot of the clay, and there is nothing wrong with the potter. The one true Lord is in the universe, and by His making everything is made. माटी की अनेक बनकर माटी की अनेक बनकर साजी साजन हारे न कुछ बुझ माटी के बंदे न कुछ बुझ कुंभारे अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया कुदरत के सब बंदे अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया सब में सच्चाई को सोई किसका किया सब कुछ होई सब में सच्चाई को सोई किसका किया सब कुछ होई हुक्म पहचान से को जाने हुक्म पहचान से को जाने बंदा कहीं सोए अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अल्लाह लख ना जाए लखिया गुर गुर दीना मीठा अल्लाह लख ना जाए लखिया गुर गुर दीना मीठा कहे कबीर में शंका नासी कहे कबीर में शंका नासी सर्व निरंजन दीता अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया कुदरत के सब बंदे एक नूर ते सब जगह उपजिया एक नूर ते सब जगह उपजिया कौन भले को बंदे अवले अल्लाह नूर पाया 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 अवले
In his first Bani, Japji Sahib, Guruji tells us about Suniya, listening to get peace within. Let us listen about his message from Jasmeet Kaur.
My name is Jasmeet Kaur and I'm a student of religious school in Sikh Gurdwara Cardiff. In the next 7 minutes, I will share ideas with you about one thing that my dad thinks I do the least. Listen to him or mum. You may already know this, but let me clarify the difference between hearing and listening. There is no doubt that anyone who has functional ears and who is not deaf can hear. However, to listen requires a lot of effort. It is an important distinction, as listening is more than just letting the sound waves hit your eardrums. Hearing what someone has said does not mean that we always listen. Almost everyone believes that he or she listens effectively. Consequently, very few people think that they need to develop their listening skills. But listening effectively is something very few of us do. It's not because listening effectively is so difficult. Most of us has just never developed the habits that would make us effective listeners. Guru Nanak Dev Ji composed Japji, a prayer at the beginning of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and I'm going to talk about the meanings of the 4 stanzas, number 8 to 11 of Japji Sahib, which are devoted to Suniya, which literally means by listening, which a seeker must follow in order to reach the goal, expressed as Sada Vigas by Guru Nanak, a state of everlasting bliss. Guru Nanak emphasizes the importance of listening to gain knowledge of our inner nature. The thing to remember is that Guru Nanak is calling for a major change, not business as usual. The trouble is we hear what we want to hear. Nothing gets past our conditioned thinking. Even when we hear Guru Nanak, we translate what we hear through our existing filters and interpret what we hear to suit or reinforce our habitual way of thinking. I am going to read one body today. Suniye Sid Pir Surnath, Suniye Tarat Taval Akas, Suniye Deep Lo Patal, Suniye Pau Na Sakke Kal, Nanak Bhakta Sada Vigas, Suniye Dukh Paap Ka Nas. These seem to be very strong statements. He is basically saying that through the sense of listening, one can become a realized being, and one can live in everlasting bliss where there is no sins or sorrows. It may even seem an exaggeration that everything can be attained merely by listening. We have been listening for years and nothing has happened. It is our experience, no matter how much we hear, we remain the same. I would like to share a short story about Guru Nanak. Once, a seeker of truth came to Guru Nanak and said, I have heard that you can turn me into ashes by your will, and that you can also create me by your will. I cannot believe this. Guru Nanak said, close your eyes, be relaxed and quiet, and I will do for what you wish. The seeker at once closed his eyes and became tranquil. If he had not been a serious seeker, he would have been frightened, because of what he had asked was very dangerous, to be turned into ashes and be remade. The seeker sat, silent and tranquil. He must have been a man of great faith. He became absolutely empty within. Guru Nanak put his hand on the seeker's head and pronounced the Onkar. As the story goes, the seeker turned to ashes. Then, Guru Nanak again sounded the Onkar, and the seeker regained his body. If we take the story at its face value, we will miss it. But this did happen within the seeker. When the seeker became completely empty within, when the internal dialogue was broken, and Guru Nanak gave out the chant of the Onkar, the seeker attained the state of true bliss. There was nothing but the renaissance of the Onkar within the seeker. Everything within the seeker was lost. All the world and its boundaries turned to naught, to ashes. There was nothing within, nobody. The house was empty. Then Guru Nanak again chanted the Onkar, and the seeker came back to himself. He opened his eyes, fell at Guru Nanak's feet and said, I had thought this could never happen, but you have proved it possible. There are those of us who might miss the point and believe that the man actually turned to ashes, and Guru Nanak brought him back to life. But this is a simplistic interpretation. Internally, however, the annihilation and creation did take place. The seeker was capable of listening. When we develop the art of listening, then we become skillful in hearing the breeze as it passes through the trees. In the silence of solitude, we hear the Onkar, the basis of all life. The renaissance of Onkar, we shall find that everything depends on the one, Ek Onkar. By listening, we are all part of the unending whole. In summary, although listening is self-evident to most of us, Guru Nanak's repeated emphasis, almost a tenth of the Japji, compel the obvious question. Are we not listening already, or is there another kind of listening that Guru wants us to develop? Ordinary hearing is often confused with attentive listening, especially the kind that Guru Nanak is teaching. Ordinary hearing is passive, inattentive, and hidden by our inner mental chatter, filtering out most of what is heard. We hear what is agreeable, and that only serves to reinforce our habitual patterns. Attentive listening, on the other hand, is a dynamic process requiring a quiet and open mind. Listening for Guru Nanak is the foundation for spiritual formation and growth, leading ultimately to oneness with the divine. This becomes one's journey as well as the goal. Thank you for listening. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru Ji. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam Ji. Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru Ji. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam Ji. Waheguru, Waheguru. Satguru Nanak Pargatiya Miti Chandra Gyanan Hoa Satguru Nanak Pargatiya Miti Chandra Gyanan Hoa Satguru Nanak Pargatiya Miti Chandra Gyanan Hoa Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
That here is about the last days of Guruji's from Sardar Gurmeet Singh Ji Randhawa, President of Sikh Gurdwara Cardiff, followed by Guruji's 3 basic principles of life from Avleen Kaur, Darsanj, Kirat Kaur and Kirat Singh.
ਚਵਰ ਛਤਰ ਤਖਤ ਦੇ ਮਾਲਕ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੁੜਿਓ ਪਰਮ ਸਨਮਾਨ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ, and those of you who are sitting home and watching this program, ਆਓ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਬਖਸ਼ੀ ਹੋਈ ਫਤਿਹ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰੀਏ। ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਹੈ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ 551st birth anniversary, and this is dedicated to his birth. The program is arranged by the students, young men and young women from Sikh Gurdwara Cardiff, and I'm extremely grateful that the program, you must have enjoyed it. To understand the philosophy of Guru Nanak and to look at what Guru Nanak represents, we have to know his philosophical way of living and the density of the population at the time when Guru Nanak first was born. At the time of his birth, 90% of the people were Hindus and Muslims, and the remaining 10% was of other religions. The Muslims were controlled by the Qazis and the Hindus by the Brahmins. The common man had no access to the spiritual knowledge, or for that reason God direct. All ceremonies were conducted by the Qazis or the Brahmins who are paid for each service. Each service they perform, and often those ceremonies were conducted in the language other than the common man's language. The common man who paid for those services was exploited. To show the right path and to convey the divine order, Guru Nanak started his mission with the preaching of God's name to people who had forgotten him. The concept of God's name, Naam Japna, and equality among all people were important to him. Ek Onkar, there is but one God. His name is truth. He created everything. He is without fear. He is not against anyone. His shape never changes. He is not born and he doesn't die. He is everywhere. That was his concept of God. On equality, Guru Nanak said no one is high and no one is low. We may be diverse, but we are all equal in the eyes of God. We are part of the same God, and all people are equal in all respects. Guru Nanak practiced equality throughout his life, explained very clearly in his sermons that the truly religious person is one who believes in equality at all. These two things laid the foundation of Sikhism, which was further developed over the following 239 years, during which period Guru Nanak in different robes explained this concept further by preaching Naam Japna, Kirt Karni, and Vand Shakna. Guru Nanak took this huge task of preaching and educating people of all castes and creeds by setting out on long tours, as Dr. Satnam Singh Palia mentioned earlier, and this process began when he was 30 and continued over the following 28 years. As Dr. Satnam Singh Jiwalia said, he traveled almost all of India, parts of Tibet, China, Sri Lanka, and on the west side, he visiting Mecca, Medina, Baghdad, Peshawar, Hassan Abdal. During these journeys, Guru Nanak met holy men of all faiths and creeds. He had held discussions with them and explained to them the way to salvation is to remember the name of God, and laid emphasis on character building and told them, though truth is greater than everything, higher still is truthful living. Siddh Gosht is one but very important example of Guru Nanak's discussions with the yogis. During these visits, he was accompanied by Mardana, who spent his entire life with Guru Nanak until his death. After completing his long journeys known as 4 Adasis, Guru Nanak settled at Kartarpur and started Langar and continued with his sermons and preaching of God's name. Not only that, to spread his message further, Guru Nanak appointed his successor, Guru Angad, as we all know. And had he not done so, no organized body of persons would have been able to take his mission further. This was a matter of great significance in Sikh history and helped the Sikh faith to grow and acquire its own holy scriptures. We call Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the concept of Miri and Piri, the name of Singh and Kaur, and of course Khande Di Paul to join his faith. At the time of Guru Nanak's demise, Guru Nanak was so popular that people of all religions respected and revered him. Hindus wanted to cremate him, while the Muslims wanted to bury him. A popular couplet describing Guru Nanak as Baba Nanak Shah Fakir, Hindu ka Guru, Musliman ka Peer. To remember him, Muslims built a mausoleum and Hindu built a samadhi on the banks of river Ravi. Even today, besides Sikh people of all other religions revere him. So this is what Guru Nanak's a real tribute is. We have to learn from Guru Nanak's teachings, the way he lived, the hymns he sang, the Bani he created and given us in the shape of Shri Guru Granth Sahib. Most of the hymns are the shabds or hymns when he's spoken during those visits, and each hymn is actually described the situation he dealt with or was faced at the time. I am extremely grateful for the organizers of this event, Sikh Gurdwara Cardiff, who housed them, the young boys and girls, and the previous speakers who took part in it, and extremely grateful for Sikh Channel, who actually recorded this program, and those of you in particularly who are watching this program. Let's have a real celebration of Guru Nanak, that we must not only read his Bani, his hymns, but think about them and took a little bit from it and try to adopt in our life. That would be a real tribute to Guru Nanak if we can do that, and that is a lot to learn. Anything I have said, if it doesn't accord with the right history, or those had made any mistakes, I apologize. At the end, Fateh Sanji kariye, Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Sri Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. Moon Mantir and its importance in our life. We are going to be talking about Mool Mandir, the very beginning of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Mool Mandir means basic teaching, teaching to build a happy and successful life. It starts with Ekam God, which means God is one, who created the entire universe from himself. We are all part of invisible God, visible form. Hence all equal, regardless of race, caste, gender, location, etc. That is why Guruji says to serve a God, serve humanity.
Means his name is true. His existence is forever. He existed before creation of this universe. He is there right now and he will be there forever. However, God's creation keeps changing as per God's word, and these changes affect our state of mind. Guruji suggests that we can achieve state of forever happiness by connecting with God inside us.
Karta Purak. Karta means creator. Purak means infused in everything. So God is such a creator who abides in its creation, living or non-living, sitting within us. God sustains our body, gives us virtues, train our brain to do wonderful things. With Guru's wisdom, one can realize Creator within its creation and can do wonderful things for humanity.
Nirpur means without fear, without worry, while our heart, our thoughts go far from God. We feel worried and sad. But when we live God's qualities, God is in our thoughts and actions. We feel fearless and happy.
Nirvana means without hate and teach us to be without hate. Millions of people do not believe in existence of God, but God never hates anyone and giving nourishment to all. However, nature runs under laws of God and no one can get good or bad results as per their actions.
Akan Murand means God is beyond time. God doesn't change time. Good or bad times has no effect on God. One who connects with God can stay peaceful even in hard times.
Juni means God doesn't take birth or die. Although God's light is within all, that light is not bound in boundaries of birth or death. Blessed are those who realize God within them and become free from fear of death.
Sabang means God is self-illuminated, self-control, one who learns how to connect with God, becomes self-controlled and no longer controlled by conditions around. Adopting this quality of God, one can learn how to remain calm in worse conditions.
Prasad means such a powerful, beautiful, inaccessible God can be realized through Guru's wisdom, through word of God. If we continuously try to amend our life, our actions as per Guru, we can generate amazing qualities of God inside us. May Guru Nanak bless us all so we can try and understand his message in Gurbani. Try adopt it in our life and get connected to true source of happiness, our Creator. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Prab apne kavan sanjog milo, Prab apne pal pal nimmak sada har japne, pal pal nimmak sada har japne, kavan sanjog milo, Prab apne kavan sanjog milo, Prab apne charan kamal Prab ke nit tyao, charan kamal Prab ke nit tyao, kavan sumat jit pri प्रीतम पावो कवन सुमत जित प्रीतम पावो कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने पल पल निमक सदा हर जपने पल पल निमक सदा हर जपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने ऐसी कृपा करो प्रभ मेरे ऐसी कृपा करो प्रभ मेरे हर नानक बिसर ना काहो बेरे हर नानक बिसर ना काहो बेरे कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने पल पल निमक सदा हर जपने पल पल निमक सदा हर जपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने कवन संजोग कवन संजोग कवन संजोग मिलो प्रभ अपने वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।